One of the biggest reasons people get suspended when they sell on Takealot is because of returns. So Takealot has a very easy return process when it comes to the consumer. And unfortunately, us as sellers have to bear the consequences of that. Sometimes returns are unfair, sometimes they are fair. So what needs to happen is you need to have a complete understanding of what exactly is going on in your returns. You can't pull a blind eye to it. You can't say it's Takealot's fault. You need to be proactive in solving the issue. So today I'll show you guys how to reduce your return rate selling on Takealot using TSeller. This is not just a tutorial. I'll actually be explaining to you guys what the process is you need to actually follow to try and understand what you're doing wrong so that you can implement the required fixes so your account does not get suspended. So let's get straight into TSeller, and at the top, let's navigate to our returns page. So there's a couple of changes we've made to the returns page, and that is, first of all, we have a date selector. So by default, your return rate is calculated on 6 months. So when looking at your SLA metric, you always use the 6 months, and this is default on the account. Then we also have the period selector that you can choose. So you can go to last 3 months, last 30 days, and then also last 7 days. So why does this matter? It matters because 6 months is a long period. There's a lot of products you sell, stop selling, add new things, remove it again. There's a lot of things that contribute in that 6-month period to your current return status. So what you ideally want to do is you want to switch your time frames and see, are you in a increasing trend of return rate? Are you in a decreasing trend of your return rate? So that you can see, okay, the last 3 months, I've been doing very well. I have a low return rate. So what did I do in these last 3 months or in this last 7 days to reduce my return rate so I can do more of that? But if you see, okay, I had a 4% return rate, and now the last 30 days, I've had a 7% return rate. That means something is wrong and you need to know what it is. So what you do is you can also look at the actual reasons of why the orders are being canceled and get a in-depth analysis on what's happening with them. So to do that, you just click on the actual offer. Then you can get your per item breakdown of how the returns are on the single unit you're looking at. So we can see the return rate for this item is 0.4%. Very, very low. So we can see excellent status. Then we have a returns overview. So we can see total deliveries, 231. Units sold, 237. Defective or damage, 0. One wrong item, reversals required, yes. Then we can look at the customer comment for this one. So the return was customer cancellation. You get the order ID, you get the seller return ID, and you get the return reason. If the customer puts in a custom note, it will show under the customer comment. So what actually counts towards your return rate? So it is damaged goods, wrong item, and not what I ordered. When you have an outcome, which is any of those three, those are the orders that will be counted towards your return rate. So if it is a sellable stock, it does not count. So only those three outcomes is what actually contributes to your return rate. So when you are doing your analysis, you need to look at that. Don't worry about your sellable stocks because that could be a Takealot return canceling an order on its own. So that does not affect your metrics. You need to look at the removal orders, not what I ordered, those type of things. So here we can see the customer left a custom comment, and then we can go through this and see what is the problem with it. So what you do is go through all of your returns on the page. You can filter at the top by status. So you can look at removal order, a sellable stock. So I'm going to go through this, go into them, look at the return reasons, and then you need to actually identify, okay, I've had 4 returns in the last 30 days, all saying that the product is damaged. So that means the product is actually damaged. Don't just assume that you always right, because that is what most sellers always do. They assume that the customer's in the wrong and they assume that they're always right. If your product is bad, your product is bad. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're buying a product from China and people complain the product is flimsy and it breaks easily, it probably does. And that's the problem. And that's the first fix you need to implement, is actually acknowledging that that product is a bad product and stop selling it. Either get a better product, get a better quality product, or stop selling that product in general. Because what's going to happen is you're going to try and fight it the whole time. Fight, fight. My product is actually good. The customer is wrong. But in theory, the customer is right because it is a cheap product that you're selling and it doesn't work. And they're going to keep on returning it. And you, as a seller, are going to get hurt by that because your account's going to get suspended. You won't be able to sell any further. So, by having that mindset of I'm always in the right and I don't really care about the returns, it's going to hurt you in the long run. You need to actually put effort into it and look at the reasons what is going on. If you're selling a tech product and people are complaining about a specific feature or a specific element of the product and doesn't charge, for example, then there's most likely an issue with the charging port. And you need to look into that because you're just going to get more and more returns. So if stuff like that happens, try and identify it as quick as possible and implement something, whether it's removing your stock, ordering one yourself on Takealot, and then testing it, see if it works. Because tech breaks, a lot of these things happen. So you need to make sure that you always look into it and you're always looking to fix it as soon as possible. Another thing people don't often do is they don't actually go ahead and fight their returns. And what I mean about that is Takealot has a dispute process. So you can go ahead and you can capture evidence and dispute a certain return to Takealot via the ticket submission form. And then they will accept that the customer is wrong based on the evidence, send the product back, give you your funds back, or obviously remove that from your metric. So when you see that there is something that the customer is actually wrong about, do go ahead and do the dispute process. It might be a bit of a lengthy process, but it is definitely worth it to do this process each time you get a return where you know for a fact that you have the evidence to back it up. The most important thing is you always just need to have visibility. So that's exactly why we built this into TSeller so that you guys can always see what's going on. You can look at it on desktop, you can look at it on your phone, you can do it while you're driving if you really want to, just so that you are always aware of what is going on with the products on your store. Accounts closed to returns is probably the most common thing on Takealot. I'm showing you guys this because it really is a big problem sellers have. So start using the returns tool how it's supposed to be used. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and you're just going to end up losing your account. And that is not what we want to happen. So I hope you guys did find some value in this video. Go ahead, try out the returns tool, see what is going on, see what is your most common reason, and implement the fixes as soon as possible so you can save your account from being deleted. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching it. If you haven't already, please click on that subscribe button. It really does help us out a lot. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.